One more minute. Okay, so yeah, there we are. So yeah, that's a good idea, Ian, to put that up to discussion. So I think it's we have plenty of rock, so why not spend it on some things like your project with the university or so. I think it's very good to put that up as a issue in the bounty system. Etc. The Burning Man issue is also a good issue for the bounty system. What do you think?
Hello.
Hey, hello. So we have also Kelsey Lisford on the floor. Maybe you could give a small introduction of yourself.
Yeah, I'm Kelsey. I usually work in QA. I've also worked with translation and localization projects before, so I'm just here to see what everyone has to say about all the translation things going on right now.
Yeah. Okay. And we are looking also for somebody is preceding this meeting. Would you also be comfortable with that? The question was to Kelsey.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you. We're getting work done on the house.
Oh, okay. So we are looking for somebody who could lead the discussion in this meeting and also do the preparation and so and things like that. And I was thinking about you. Maybe you could do that.
I might be able to. I might be getting a job that would require me to be working during these hours in the next few weeks, so I don't want to start it and then have to stop.
Okay. So that's fine. But so maybe for the future, you're willing to do that.
Yeah, if it works with my schedule, I'd be willing to do that.
Okay, wonderful. And if you change the schedule, what would be your answer then? If you take a more convenient time for you?
That would probably work, yeah. But I won't know what my schedule is for the next few weeks, so I wouldn't want to make any changes until then.
Okay. Then we will come back later to that. It's, okay, Kit Blake has set up, gave a link in the chat box for the agenda. And I'm going there now. And point 1 of the agenda is the budget reward app is in use. Please assign rewards for March. So that's more a message, I think. I have to say it's going very good. The spreadsheet works. The people have filled out rewards and budgets, and there's about 15 people now who have claimed a reward and sent in an invoice. So I'm working also with Kate to get a payment register every Tuesday. So all the invoices that are sent by email will be processed every Tuesday. And that should speed up this payment system a lot, I think.
So why every Tuesday? Doesn't that happen just once a month?
Well, it's happening every Tuesday because the people are not operating like an army. That's so. If you say cross the street, then everybody goes at the same time crossing the street.
Got
So,
it. I see what you're saying.
Yeah, they're dripping in, I would say. And that goes until the end of the month or so, and even over the months that people fill out, send an invoice for January, and it's March already. So that's why it is every Tuesday. Well, then probably a good idea to talk about. Okay. So we go to issue 462, and Jake said maybe it's a good idea to talk about this issue. So Jake, go ahead.
Yeah, sure. So as you all know, I've talked quite a bit in the past about some of my concerns surrounding the translation work that's being done. This month, I tried to review all the translation issues. I didn't quite get to that, but I reviewed 6 translation issues, all of them related to translating this video talk between Jake and Kenny. What I found was that we were paying well over sort of market rates for the translation of this video, with about $13,000 being spent for translation between 4 or 5 different languages. And I think that this is unacceptable, and sort of makes the bounty program look pretty bad. So I've been trying to interact with the people who have created this issue to sort of develop some standards around, what translation work is worth. 462 was sort of one of the bigger overstatements of budget, in my opinion. They were asking $5,000. It's about down to $2,000 now after talking with people, to provide the original English subtitles that are reviewed for other people to translate. In my estimate, this is about 1.5 to 2 hours worth of work. And Will, who is an experienced translator who has done this sort of review, also says that this is about 1.5 or 2 hours of work as well. Sounds like the person in question who is claiming this bounty, it took them, they probably used a different process, and it took them a lot longer, and are sort of, it seems like they're failing to understand why the work would only be worth maybe about $100 instead of a couple $1,000s. So this is the kind of thing I think we should be looking out for. It hasn't been pleasant for me over this past week to, express this opinion that the work is worth less than they thought it was. But I think it's important if we're going to maintain integrity of the bounty system. So that's my spiel. If anyone has any comments or questions or some discussion that they want to have, I'm open to it.
I don't have much to say besides I don't think it's $5,000 to write the transcript in 2 hours. So I agree with you on that.
Yeah, Jake, this is Ian. I agree with you as well. And I think it's a real shame that the bounty system is being used for this kind of waste and perhaps even fraud. And I don't think that we can support that going forward. We have to put better controls in place.
Yeah, so for now, what I've done is just in the issues that I've reviewed where I really think this is happening, I'm putting in very large negative votes, negative 99999, to result in no bounty being placed, just because I view that as me sort of staking my reputation on, staking my reputation, because it's a pretty extreme stance to say, like, no, hold up, wait, I think that there's something really wrong with the budget here. So that's what I've done for some of these for now, until I can reach some sort of understanding of either why the budget really needs to be that much and I feel like it's justified, or if people are willing to accept, you know, the $100 that I think it's worth after doing a bunch of research, then I'd be happy to change my vote to that as well. But again, this is only 6 of the 46 issues and translations that were done this month. Those were the only ones I had really real time to look at, and it's been a huge sink in time to sort of communicate with these people my opinions and engage in this discussion. So, you know, I need help.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
the current system, I think it's impossible for you to just keep your finger in the dike, because the way the system is set up, where people are engaging in work before there is any proper vetting to see if the work is warranted, if it's something that the co-op needs. So there needs to be an acceptance mechanism before people begin work. Otherwise, they might be wasting their time or duplicating work. Otherwise, the system will absolutely fail.
Agreed, Ian.
Yeah.
I'll chime in here for a second. I had just posted in one of the GitHub issues 464 regarding setting up kind of a guidelines to deciding whether documents should be translated or videos be translated. And I guess what I've pointed out is that specific video with Kenny and Jake is not getting views. I don't think the amount of funds that have been noted, what was it, $14,000 you mentioned, Jake? I don't think that amount of money is needed for a video that has had 400 views over the past month. And with how quickly we're producing content for Rchain, that's almost old news.
Not to mention that everything which is being translated is just sitting buried in a GitHub repo and is not accessible from the page where people are even viewing the videos. So entirely inappropriate to translate that material.
Okay, this is interesting. I will share my screen for a moment. So here what we see is we have some translations to Russian, Polish, and Ukrainian. And you see here the amounts. Do you think that's reasonable? Because this person is going to earn like $13,000 this month.
The first thing that sticks out to me is on lines 24, 25, 26. It looks like they're translating the same thing to 3 languages, but one of them they put as 3,600 and the other one's 150, 167. So
I believe
unless
that's
I'm
probably review.
Oh, okay.
Review work in some languages and non-review work in others.
Yeah, because I was going to say that's a very large difference for the same document. So, but yeah, 13,000 for one person is.
Yeah, HJ, I don't know. I'd have to look into it more. It's taken me quite a while to look into these issues specifically and see if the amounts are worth it or not. But you know, from what I've seen so far, my guess is that you know, there might be some discrepancies here. One of the large things that I've seen is sort of a flat 20 cent per word rate, even for people who are like conservatively estimating and are what I would view as good actors in the system, primarily like the Chinese translation community. But I think that 20 cent per word translation rate was probably set a bit too high in the sense that it's probably appropriate for technical documents, but when it comes to non-technical documents, you know, that's probably double the amount of price that would be standard to pay.
Yeah, and also the bigger the paper is, the more the amount goes down. So if you have, for example, 1,000 pages to translate, it would come down to 5 cents a word or so. It's also the quantity that's important. And as Ian said, we have, we have also to look at the added value of a translation and the return on it, and if it's history or not, things like that. So we need a kind of procedure, I think, to.
So HJ.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Continue.
Yeah. No. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. I guess my question for you is, since there's been a lot of back and forth in the bounty votes for some of these translation issues, since the beginning of whatever the month is now, April. When you receive these invoices, how do you know that the voting has been finalized? And are you checking all of the votes and comparing them with the invoice?
Yeah, so it's pretty easy with a spreadsheet. If I receive an invoice, then I put the GitHub name into the template invoice. And then I see if the amounts are correct. So, and the system enforces 3 votes per budget and 3 votes per reward. But you see that people team up. For example, like the Greek guys, and they are living in the same apartment or so, and they are the quickest to send in invoices. So,
sure. Yeah. So when will you start accepting invoices for March? Should you give us time to review all the translation issues, given the sort of things that we've seen, the concerning things we've seen in the first week here?
Yeah, so until now, when I receive an invoice and technically it's correct, then I say, okay, you can send it to invoices at rchain.coop. But probably we need some more observation on it, analysis of it.
All right, I'm willing to help out with this month for translation issues, given the amount of time I've spent already. So, do you want to talk some more? And whenever translation, that way, like by whatever invoices are coming in for translation work, I can prioritize reviewing those for that month.
Okay. And on the other hand, I don't want to create a management position for it. So it would be nice.
I understand.
Yeah.
I'm offering to do this unpaid and just looking at stuff for this month.
Oh no, that's not a problem. But I mean, the culture has to be that everybody controls everybody. In fact. So.
Right.
But what you are doing should be copied by other people, and I think maybe it's a good idea that you stimulate other people to also revalue the rewards, etc.
Yeah, believe me, I'm trying. And any review that I'm doing, I'm making all of my opinions public. I've posted stuff in the Discord and in individual issues, trying to make it easy for people to hop on and support me or disagree with me. That's been my intent. If anyone has better ideas on how I could be doing that better, please get at me.
Okay. Yeah. So I think for April, I can also devote more time to go more into what has been done on an issue and so and by whom. Because the manual work for creating invoices and so has gone a lot down, and yeah, so for April it will be better.
Cool, glad to hear that.
Let me see. So, Kit, you wanted to tell something about the Quora network.
But sorry, I just want to say before we move on here, I see that there are some people in the call who I've been interacting with in the GitHub issues, and you know, it hasn't been the most pleasant. So I just want to say, like, hey, I'm here to talk right now. If you want to talk. If anyone else has comments.
Okay, and I've seen some discussions, but I think it should start by the numbers. So if you see some discrepancies, then just vote it down. And then when that needs more explanation, then you can do it, because discussing takes also a lot of time.
Yeah, and in fact, the little presentation I'm going to do is going to be quite quick, and it's about translation. So we will stay on the subject, actually. And let me try to share the correct screen now. Hang on a sec. Okay, so probably if you're seeing my screen, you're seeing a Cloudflare error, because the site that I wanted to show to you is not online right now.
The demo gods don't have your favor today.
Exactly. So let me change the color. But the core network, they use Bounty Hive IO, and I took a look at what they're doing for translations, because it's a very international effort, and they're using Bounty Hive quite nicely. And what I've noticed is that they've come up with guidelines, and the guidelines are posted. So for instance, they have chosen 23 languages, and those are the target languages that they want to have things translated to. And then what they want to have translated has also been decided by the core or the community. So there are certain documents that they want to have translated, and that is it. It's not an open choice or an open field. They have a list of things that they want to have done. And they also want certification of native speakers. So they want that showing up in a Bitcoin talk profile. And there's more, which I don't remember right now, but there was a few paragraphs of all these guidelines that they have. And within those guidelines, anybody can come in and start translating. They contact the people, and they say, hi, I would like to translate the white paper into language X, and they go ahead. And my point for us is that I think we, and by we, I mean the cooperative collectively, I think we should maybe take some time and come up with some guidelines for translation. Because looking at all the issues and all the problems with the bounty system, they're mostly translation issues. And I can easily understand how things could get a bit out of control, because I've seen this kind of enthusiasm before in other open source initiatives where people, they want to help out, they want to contribute, they're not devs, so they start translating. And well, if it's a user interface, that's great. If you want to translate a user interface to German, then that's absolutely something we want. But digging through GitHub, finding a piece of text from a project that isn't working anymore and translating it to a Filipino subdialect, that's not what we want. And I'm using a real example here, but if we can collectively come up with some guidelines, I think we can get this more under control. And that's the point I was hoping to demonstrate today, but we'll have to live with my little drawings and verbal description, maybe next time.
Just want to say, yes, I support that fully. Also, it seems like these sort of guidelines are landing in the issue template.markdown on GitHub. So any input there, yeah, is probably a good place to put it.
Yeah.
So I would like to put a motion for voting. For April, there's no bounties for translation. What do you think of it?
I'm not so sure about that.
Well, personally, I like the idea that we put it on hold until we get the guidelines worked out.
Jake, we talked about the other time about building an application for translations. It's similar to what Kit Blake is talking about.
So, I mean, there are guidelines right now is the thing. And those guidelines aren't always being followed, but they are there right now. So, yeah, just want to throw that out there. Cool. Yeah, let's revamp the guidelines. I'm all for that. But
okay. So
and I'm also open with if you guys want to go in and whenever you see a translation issue open saying danger, translation issues are sort of like, you know, under intense scrutiny and we're changing our process right now and you know, you might want to do this under risk of not being paid. I think that that's reasonable, but you know, that requires effort from someone to do that.
But being reactive and contentious like that, I mean, anytime I downvote someone, I'm going to get flamed and people emailing me. I want it to go the other way around where people are asking whether they have support to engage in some work rather than doing the work and then attacking anyone who says, hey, that work might not be what's needed for the co-op. We have it upside down.
I agree, but there's still, what do we do right now when a translation issue comes in tomorrow? If this motion that HJ has said that no translation work being done until the bounties, until the guidelines are revamped, you know, what do we do then? We have to do something. We can't just, yeah.
Well, if you don't want to be too drastic or draconian about it, what you did in the issues, the requirements that you've already made for translation work are really getting pretty good, and you can screw those down even tighter if need be. But then we have to chase after everyone who starts work and say, hey, you have to follow the rules here. You haven't read the. So what's the document they have to follow?
It's the issue template.
The issue template.
Yeah.
So
yep. No, that's totally true. But that, you know, we need to actually make sure that that's happening. You know, Kelsey posted a statement of work, and it sounds like she might be the one doing that right now. And you know, I understand, you know, this is kind of an intimidating first way to be involved with the community, but if you want to can a statement with other people's support in it that you can post in issues, then I'm all for that. I'm all for allowing you to put words in my mouth if they're these sorts of words.
Yeah, likewise, I'll give a proxy.
Yeah, I mean, if we're planning to pause the translation payment until we do the guidelines, I would be fine, you know, checking in every day and posting it on any of the bounties that come in for translation, you know, just a, hey, you know, we're not paying right now, or hey, if you don't follow any of these, you're not going to get paid, or whatever we want to say. I'm fine being the bad guy for that.
Yeah, so that's not pausing. That's just raising the bar a little bit.
Well, yeah, there are sort of two steps, right? There was one idea proposed that we just sort of make sure that the guidelines that we have right now are being followed. And then there was other people who say, no, the guidelines right now aren't that great. We should stop all translation work until the guidelines have been reformed, right? So those are two different messages that you would send in the translation issue. So I guess HJ and YSGJ, sorry, I don't remember your name.
Jason.
What was it?
Jason. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Jason, do you guys want to work on a template for translation? I'm happy to support you and being involved in those conversations, but I think we should get that done sooner rather than later, say like by the end of the week.
Yeah, I'll join in on that.
I'm asking if one of you guys will organize that.
I'll join in, but I won't organize it. I'm busy this week.
HJ?
I'm kind of short of time also. But
Okay. So then I say that what we do right now is we don't pause translation issues. We just make sure that they follow the current guidelines. If we don't have actually enough momentum to actually reform these guidelines right now.
I agree with you.
Yeah. Donald, you're also an experienced translator. So,
Yeah.
what do you think of it?
What I have to say about it is that I have proposed several times of creating an application that is for translations only, so we can put some guidelines there and have only the files that are for translations in one place, and then decide on which languages are for translation. It's going to solve all these problems. So that's what I'm proposing for several days.
Okay, and you think it's not possible to do it in GitHub?
No, I don't think so, because you cannot. If you see other platforms, I mean, not everyone is fluent in GitHub. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but we used in a very simple way. It's just the most important thing is how to create an issue and how to give a comment.
Yeah, but we receive a lot of pull requests that are a total mess.
Well, you don't have to go. I didn't do a pull request, for example. So I used it in a very simple way. I just create an issue and I add comments.
Yeah, right now most
you
translations aren't using pull requests, Donald. Right now they're mostly uploading stuff to Google Docs.
Okay, yeah.
Except from the files that are inside the repositories.
Right, but then those need pull requests anyways.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah.
So right now we are translating files through various ways. We're uploading them to GitHub and to Google Drive, or if it's a blog post, we are posting it to a blog website. So what I'm talking about is one. Have you seen Transifex, Jake?
No.
Okay. If you check Transifex, you can see that they have created a system for translations only, which both they help with two things. One is help with the translator's work. You have a vocabulary of every tool that the translator needs for a translation to be better. And the second thing you have is that you can set a set of rules, and you cannot avoid them. So it solves two problems in one way.
Sounds cool. I'd love to see a detailed proposal of sort of what rules you would set up, and how this website would be used, what the value added would be, how much it would cost, and all that. If you have something like that, I think that would be great, like a design document for this thing.
I was talking with DCKC. He proposed of POW, but we decided that it's better if I create an issue for that the application.
Yeah, sure. I don't care what format the design's in, but I'd like to see it.
I'll create one tomorrow.
Wonderful, great. So, okay, do we have to say more about this subject? Or? So we see an issue of Donald about the translation application, and then we will see if we can implement it.
All right.
Okay, then the next item is, can we move this meeting back to 1 hour before the debrief of Greg? So we started with that because I thought it was practical, but then we got Chantal. She was leading this presentation, and for her it would be pretty early in the morning, like 5 o'clock in the morning or so. But Chantal is gone, so now we are more on one side of the planet, and we can go back again to 1 hour before the debrief.
And it's actually me who's making the request, but I'm based in the Netherlands, and so it's 9:38 in the evening right now. And what happens to me is I watch the debrief, and then when the debrief is over, I'm tired and I'm really not interested in this meeting, but I do it anyway. And before, when it was before the meeting, the energy worked quite well because we would get things done in this meeting and then we could relax and watch the debrief, and we could play into the debrief with things that we decided or talked about in the meeting. Right now, anything that we decide in this meeting gets delayed by a week if we want to get it into the next debrief, and so it tends to get lost, I think. But if people really like the time as it is, we'll keep it that way. I would just prefer to see it before.
I don't have a problem with any. So
I'm also for, I say yes to 1 hour earlier for the debrief. 1 hour before the debrief.
I say yes to that too.
I'm open to it.
Well, let's turn it the other way around. Who's against it? Well, nobody speaks up. So next meeting is 1 hour before the debrief.
All right, will someone here offer to make sure that gets changed in the Discord calendar?
Yeah, but Ian, can you do that?
In an airport right now. Just send me a Discord message and I'll get to it as soon as I can.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it has to be before next Wednesday. So Tuesday, something like that. Okay. There's nothing more on the agenda. I think I will create an issue for this Forbes Asia stuff. And also I will create an issue about if you can do projects through this bounty system. Like there's a participation in the Burning Man party. And I think it's very good to do it through the bounty system because then everybody knows what it is about. That would be one issue, and there's also an issue of a position for a home manager of the new office when it's bought finally. it would be nice to put it also in GitHub, I think. And how that goes and how the rules are set up and for the crypto nomads. So, who wants to have the floor?
So, quick thing I was thinking about is this is separate on new membership. Is in a meeting like this, if we have new members, we can have some time to spend to have them introduce themselves, just as a way of welcoming them properly.
Yeah, okay. Who's new?
I don't see anybody new today, but what I'll try to do is point the guys that I do verification on to come on this channel. That's something I would look at. One more.
You've met the new guy from South Africa, no?
Oh yes, crypto videos, right?
Yes.
Yeah, he's cool. So,
yeah.
So I know you changed this this format to be like a webinar, and then there's live on YouTube. So
yeah.
I don't know if new folks come in, if they can get on live to speak or to introduce themselves, especially if they're on live YouTube. Just checking.
Yeah, so there's a link to this Zoom. Mm-hmm. And what they see then, the participants can show up as panelists or attendees. Mm-hmm. And most people show up as attendee, and then I promote them to panelist by a click on the name.
Okay, so maybe if they want to introduce themselves and they put up something in the chat, you could promote them to introduce themselves. If we want to put it as part of the agenda.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought
anybody can ask a new one. If you see a new name, then you can say, say something about yourself. So,
okay.
Yeah, I'm just saying I found the link from the Discord on the member calendar, and I introduced myself at the beginning, so I thought that worked pretty well.
Yeah. You see, it works.
Mm-hmm.
It seems not. No, stop pulling it up.
What's that?
Ian, are you speaking or you want to go on mute?
I will put him on mute. So, less noise. Okay, I think that's it then for this Wednesday meeting. And next meeting will be 1 hour before the Greg's meeting. And I wish you a good evening or a good day.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye.